Now, before I begin this episode, I would like to review the results of last week's episode. Last week, I compared the Allman Brothers' live album at Fillmore East with Little Richard's debut, Here's Little Richard. And the winner is... drum roll, please. Here's Little Richard! Unfortunately, At Fillmore East has been eliminated, but Little Richard is one step closer to receiving the honor of greatest album of all time. I will not bring up Here's Little Richard again until round 2, which will be in 24 episodes. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this new comparison. Music comes in many genres, and within those genres are subgenres. In the late 1970s, a subgenre of rock and roll formed called punk rock. Now, why is this important? Well, both albums I will be comparing today are of this subgenre, including the Ramones' self-titled debut and the Clash's third album, London Calling. But which album is better? Well, let's find out. In 1974, a group called the Ramones formed in Queens, New York. 2 years later, they recorded their first album in 7 days with only $6,400. The album would receive critical acclaim by Rolling Stone magazine, NME, and The Village Voice. Despite this, the album would only chart 111 in the US Billboard 200 chart. The two singles released to promote the album, Blitzkrieg Bop and I Wanna Be Your Boyfriend, also bombed at the charts. 3 years later, British punk band The Clash, who were inspired by the Ramones, just released 2 albums. They decided to experiment with their third album, London Calling, and tackle new themes. In 1979, London Calling was released to critical acclaim, as well as much higher sales than the Ramones' first album. And in 2003, both albums were included in Rolling Stone magazine's Top 50 Albums. Alright, so we've gone over the history of both bands. Now I think it's time to explore the styles and how both bands are important. The best way I can describe the Ramones style is pure punk rock. The Ramones' songs were typically very short, clocking usually under 2.5 minutes. Their songs also had a very fast tempo at 175 beats per minute. Their lyrics, while short and simple, were often mature, containing themes like violence, drugs, relationship issues, and Nazism. Clash, on the other hand, has a much more complex style. Besides punk, The Clash used styles reggae, rockabilly, ska, hard rock, and even New Orleans R&B on their album London Calling. Their songs were also much longer than the Ramones' songs, as well as the album being a double album. Lyrically, The Clash built upon the Ramones' mature topics, talking about unemployment, racism, politics, and other social issues. So if you're still having trouble deciding which album is better, well, I'm going to play 3 clips from both albums, and then you can decide. So, which album is better? Well, that's where the You Decide It aspect comes in. Click on the link in the description below, and that will bring you to a SurveyMonkey poll where you, the viewer, get to decide which album you like better. Other than that, definitely, if you get a chance, definitely check out both albums. So that just about covers it. Bye.